Some say he was a traitor. Others say he saved China from chaos. But when General Wu Sangui opened the gates of the Great Wall to the Manchus, he also opened the door to the Qing Dynasty and sealed the fate of the Ming. What really happened and why? The early 17th century was a very difficult time in China. The Ming Dynasty, which had ruled for nearly 300 years, was starting to fall apart. Inside the country, people were rising up in rebellion. There was hunger, poverty, and a lot of corruption in the government. These problems were slowly destroying the empire. Out of this chaos came a man named Li Zicheng. He used to work for the Ming government, but now he became the leader of a huge rebellion made up of poor farmers. He promised land and food to the hungry people. Calling himself the Dashing King, he started his own dynasty, the Shun Dynasty. He and his army marched toward the Ming capital, Beijing, saying the Ming rulers had lost the mandate of heaven. At the same time, a powerful external force was gathering strength beyond the Great Wall. In Manchuria, the Jurchen tribes, united under the leadership of Nurhaci and his son Hong Taiji, had established the Qing Dynasty, which translates to Pure Dynasty. These Manchus were steadily pushing south, testing the Ming defenses. For years, the Ming's northern frontier was a scene of desperate battles, and among the Ming commanders holding the line was Wu Sangui, a general renowned for his bravery and military skill. Wu Sangui was born into a military family, and he rose quickly through the army ranks. He was given command of an important base called Ningyuan, along with a strong group of cavalry soldiers. He later became the main defender of Shanhai Pass, known as the First Pass Under Heaven, where the Great Wall reaches the sea. This was the last major defense line against the Manchus. By the spring of 1644, Emperor Chongzhen in Beijing faced a nightmare scenario: rebels at his doorstep and the Manchus ready to strike. In a desperate gamble to save his crumbling dynasty, he ordered Wu Sangui to abandon his crucial post at Shanhai Pass and rush to defend the capital against Li Zicheng. It was a very risky decision. In April 1644, Li Zicheng's rebel army entered Beijing easily, helped by Ming officials who had switched sides. The Forbidden City was taken, but Li's victory didn't mean much, as Emperor Chongzhen, not wanting to be captured, took his own life. This marked the end of Ming rule in the capital. News of the emperor's suicide and the fall of the capital spread quickly across China. People everywhere were shocked. But for Wu Sangui, it was more than just a national crisis. It was deeply personal. His father and his favorite concubine, Chen Yuanyuan, were both still in Beijing, now under Li Zicheng's control. And the choices Wu would make next would change the future of China forever. Li Zicheng, hoping to secure Wu's allegiance, offered to spare his father. But according to later accounts, Li's seizure of Chen Yuanyuan, Wu's beloved concubine, was a profound insult to the proud general, fueling his rage. Wu Sangui was trapped between two impossible choices: the rebel who led to his emperor's death and held his family hostage, and the foreign Manchus, longtime enemies of the Ming. When his father Wu Xiang was brutally executed, the general's desire for vengeance burned fiercely. Sensing opportunity, the Manchu Prince Regent Dorgan sent envoys to Wu, portraying Li as a mere bandit and promising to restore order and avenge the Ming emperor. Dorgan dangled rich rewards and titles, urging Wu to betray the rebels. Shanhai Pass, the first pass under heaven, became the stage for a world-altering decision. On May 27, 1644, Wu Sangui made his choice. He sided with the Manchus. He opened the gates of the Great Wall, and Manchu soldiers rushed into China. What followed was the Battle of Shanhai Pass. It didn't last long. Li Zicheng's rebel army was no match for the powerful Manchu cavalry and Wu's experienced troops. They were quickly defeated. When news of the defeat of his rebel forces at Shanhai Pass reached him, Li Zicheng fled Beijing. In the ashes of the Ming capital, the victorious Manchus, with Wu Sangui as their guide, entered unopposed. Dogon declared his young nephew the Shunji Emperor, establishing the Qing Dynasty as the ruler of China. The people of Beijing watched as the general they hoped would be their savior escorted foreign conquerors into their city. To Ming loyalists, Wu Sangui, the great general, had become a traitor. Wu Sangui swore allegiance to the Qing, and the Manchus richly rewarded him, granting him the title Prince who pacifies the West and a vast semi-independent fiefdom in the southwest. For years, Wu Sangui proved instrumental in the Qing conquest of the rest of China, ruthlessly hunting down remaining Ming loyalists. In a chilling act, he personally oversaw the execution of the last royal bloodline of the Ming Dynasty, the Yongle Emperor, extinguishing the final hope of Ming loyalists. The Qing didn't fully trust Wu Sangui because he had so much power, but they still let him rule his lands with little control from the capital. Along with two other Han Chinese generals, Shang Kexi and Geng Jingzhong, who had helped in the Ming conquest. Geng Jingzhong inherited Fujian, originally granted by the Qing to his grandfather Geng Zhongming, then passed to his father Geng Jimao, and finally to him. Together, they formed what became known as the Three Feudatories, three regions that acted almost like separate kingdoms inside the Qing Empire. But the young Kangxi Emperor, who came to the throne in 1661, was growing uneasy about these independent fiefdoms. They were draining Qing resources and could one day challenge his power. Then, in 1673, one of the feudatory lords, Shang Kexi, who ruled Guangdong, asked to retire and return to the north. Emperor Kangxi saw this as the perfect chance. He quickly accepted the request and announced that Shang's territory would return to full imperial control. This bold move encouraged the emperor to do the same to the two remaining feudatories, including Wu Sangui. It was a direct threat to Wu's power, wealth, and independence, seeing his wealth, army, and dominion about to be stripped away. Wu Sangui, in a stunning reversal, betrayed the Qing and declared a rebellion to restore the Ming Dynasty. The revolt of the Three Feudatories engulfed southern China in a devastating 8-year civil war. Wu Sangui's army swept through the south, reclaiming province after province. The Qing were pushed onto the defensive, but beneath the surface, cracks were beginning to show. Internal divisions began to grow. The rebel leaders couldn't agree, and there was no clear unity. Even as Wu's forces continued fighting, resources were running low, and keeping the army supplied became harder each day. Then, just as things were becoming more fragile, the Qing struck back. Under Emperor Kangxi, they launched a well-planned counterattack, using their military strength and sharp strategy to weaken Wu's position. And then, In 1678 came the move that changed everything. Wu Sangui declared himself emperor of a new dynasty, the Great Zhou. By doing so, he gave up the idea of restoring the Ming, and in that moment, many of his former allies and Ming loyalists turned away. The rebellion had taken a turn, and the tide would not turn back. In 1678, Wu Sangui died at the age of 66 while still leading the rebellion. His death was due to an illness, with most sources stating it was dysentery, though the exact cause remains somewhat debated. His grandson, Wu Shifan, inherited the rebellion, but it was a losing cause. Qing forces closed in, and in 1681, Wu Shifan committed suicide, marking the end of the revolt. The Kangxi Emperor ordered Wu Sangui's corpse to be exhumed and desecrated, a final act of retribution and a stark warning to any future challengers. Wu Sangui, a brilliant general, a man caught in the brutal currents of dynastic collapse. His decision at Shanhai Pass forever altered the course of Chinese history, ushering in the Qing Dynasty. What do you think of Wu Sangui's choices? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more fascinating history. Thanks for watching.